Hello and welcome back. My French lesson. I didn't have a French lesson, so back to work. Now, so you can see that I changed of this video, and this video called "Better to use Gemini as the arc." Let me show you why. I'm gonna just share the entire screen, and so I'm gonna turn off this audio so I don't have to listen to myself. All right, good. Now, so we got this one queued up. Um, let's take a look at our app. Basically, what's happening is I went to the home page. We got our colors orange, blue, and green. We got our clear session button. I think the clear session button works. We got the view at test button. This is going to the right page. Yeah, this is going to the right page. You see, so in fact, Sonnet 4 did all this without any help from Gemini. So it's definitely way better than it used to be. There are some issues here. So, and I discovered, so there's some coloring issues. You see, this is blue, and I don't want this blue. I want this to be orange. And then we move into the blue one, and then this is green. And then we move into the alignment, and it's like broken. So I took some screenshots. I'm curious if I add the test. I think this should work because it's not really related to. We got objectives one. Let's go to brainstorm. Let's add a task with brainstorm. And let's just add one more with choose module. All right, so what's the feature that we added? We added this, now how do we get to the task list? See, there it is. Everything's good. I added this feature where you can click and drag, and then it did change the way this works. Now it says in progress done. Actually, I prefer this. Well, I don't necessarily prefer it, but I mean, it's okay. It doesn't have the colors, but, and then you can just click and drag, move that up. Huh. So click and drag, it only moves it to the very top or the very bottom. KNB is now in the middle. It's now in the bottom. It's now in the middle. It's now okay. So it works basically. So you can see that I did a lot of this without the help of Google Gemini. And so I mean Claude Sonnet 4 is now good enough that you can vibe code. You can save some credits if you use Google Gemini because Gemini, if you ask it to be an architect, then it will play the role of an architect. It'll help you to plan out some sprints. It'll, it'll, and then because of my experiences in the past, we do have some testing protocols that we go through when we're starting to face problems. So, like, I still feel like having these calibration documents is the way to go, but I can feel like there's less of a chokehold because like I did a lot of this stuff without Google Gemini, and you can see that like 2 months ago when I was trying to do these tasks, it was like days after days after days of failure, and it was just driving me crazy. And now it's like, what happens if I don't have anything in the box? Okay, and now like I just make a little prompt and then it works. So okay, so we got the sidebar UI polish. So now I feel like probably sometimes I feel like I'm reading too fast or like I'm not really, you know, reading at all. And the reason is because why am I reading? I mean, I'm trying to use AI first. I'm trying to get AI to do the job for me. All right, sidebar UI polish. The navigation title is partially obscured by the X. Race of color inconsistencies. all the UI elements, the progress bar buttons, the step numbers are incorrectly blue and should be orange, yellow. The choose module, all UI elements are green, they should be blue. The previous step button is incorrectly orange, and all modules need to be consistent with neutral style. The add task button, this button on all modules must be consistently green to align with the engine execution theme. Uh, ex- Objective module is broken. The progress bar is unstyled and non-functional. The save progress button is missing. The next step button is missing. Yeah. All right. Good. So I'm just gonna. So the reason that I use Gemini is look. So it has some extra instructions here. For example, here locate and confirm. So look, you will use the verification first protocol. Locate and confirm. Implement the fix. Verify with proof. So it's still acting as a architect. And without, if it's not acting as an architect, I mean, how is it acting? There's just one thing here that I need to fix. It's not the navigation title, it's the menu navigation. Okay, there we go. But I would say, as you can see, I mean, I'm happy to pay the extra credits. And even if I'm wasting some credits, because I know I'm going to get there. Like, how much does it cost to hire somebody to do this kind of work? It's like it's gonna be $1,000,000 bucks. I mean, a couple thousand bucks. And um, I just kept digging at it and digging at it and digging at it with Google Gemini in order to find some kind of workflow so that we could solve these problems. And it was just a constant pain. It was constant problems, it was constant issues. And then suddenly Cloud Sonnet 4 comes out. And now, I mean, it does have some problems, as you can see in the last video. Um, I just had a lot of problems with Cloud Sonnet 4. I restarted the the servers, the front end, back end servers, and it had some misunderstandings. I asked it to fix some things. It just wasted a lot of credits. It was having a hard time connecting with some tools. You know, it just like a lot of little things just weren't really connecting very well. And it cost me a lot of extra credits, but I was able to get everything done and we solved everything. So now we go back to using Gemini as the architect, and you can see the biggest benefit is that I can just talk. I can look at the user interface. I can describe what I'm seeing. I can take pictures, and then Gemini will look at that and it will then create a very succinct plan. That is really, and then also it will remind it to use these certain protocols that we've already developed so that we get the best success out of it. So this is a powerful prompt. This is a very, very powerful prompt. And this will show you the difference between like last time, yes, like in the last video where I spent like 30, 45 minutes just having problem after problem after problem, using credit after credit. Like how many credits did we actually use in that video? Right? We used 16 credits in that video, just to do like a little bit of work. Basically, to what do we do? We fixed the clear session button, and we fix these buttons so that they navigate to the right area. And then we added, okay, so I don't have any, and then we added this feature so that you can click and drag the cards like this. All right. So we did that. It took 16 credits to do that, which I think is quite a bit. And it's quite a bit just because I'm used to working with the architect, telling the architect what I need, and then the architect gives me like a very, very clear sprint. And then also it gives me like some instructions to follow certain types of protocols. And then we get back and what do we see? Uh, well, I'm not going to close any of those. just because sometimes if you close the wrong window at the wrong time, the computer has a problem with it. All right, so there you go. So okay, so it creates a plan using updating the plan to reflect the new master problem list, the sprint priorities, as well as the first directive to restore missing UI elements in the objective module. Add new notes for the master problem list and sprint workflow. Cleared the completed parity powered sprint backlog. Added new task list for module UI and color parity sprint. Set current goal to fix objectives module UI elements. And then here we go. So we got to fix the current objective module, restore progress bar, save progress, next step, verification, provide before and after screenshots of the objective 2, implement consistent color themes, brainstorm, choose previous step, neutral, add task. Okay, so we'll see how it does. So in this case, we gave it a very, very clear prompt from our Gemini architect, and now it's working on the problem. Most likely it's going to realize that something is missing. This is objective, delegate. This is objectives 2. So it's found the page. Component located and confirmed. Let me examine the journey step component more closely. Let me continue examining. See, I feel like this, like when you give it really clear instructions like that, I can see the journey component does have all the required UI elements. This suggests the issue may be with the step progress component itself or the conditional rendering logic. The step progress component looks implemented. Let me know navigation to. I need to take a before screenshot to document the current issue. I can see the issue. The browser is showing the home page instead of the Objectives 2 page. This indicates the routing problem. Let me check the module config. All right, good. So this is what I like to see. I like to see, this is the benefit of, so I'm the project manager. Now, what happened, so in the last video, what happened is I became the architect. So I was talking directly to Windsurf, directly to Cascade, and telling it to solve very specific issues. And I felt like I could explain it clear enough that it could do it. And relatively speaking, I mean, it worked. We fixed everything. Everything's fine. But it took a while. It took extra credits. It took quite a few extra credits. So if a credit, I think a credit is technically what about, well, it's 5 cents. So in Replit, you pay $25. It's 5 cents per thing. I think I figured out that it's also the same price with Cascade. So it's 5 cents, but then we're using Sonnet, so it means it's 10 cents. So 18 requests means $1.80. Actually, right now, this is it. We're back. So this is literally like, remember like 2 or 3 months ago when I was just like, what I like to do is I just like, it's like sewing, right? It's like quilting. I'd like to take the prompt directly from Gemini. I don't want to change anything. And then I just want to paste it directly into Cascade and then take the response from Cascade, paste it back into Gemini. It's like I'm just pushing it back and forth. Now I have a question. So I mean, I guess it's possible now because I think some people are starting to use different AI tools which are like takes control of your computer. I'm not sure I'm ready to give control to my computer to some AI. Not yet. And it's because when I was a kid, my dad, like, he was really sensitive about his computer. And he didn't like when I touched things on the computer. Because I don't know, for some reason, I would just like start deleting things and start moving things around. And I didn't really know what I was doing. So I was just kind of experiencing the experience. My dad was not real happy with me experiencing the experience. And he was much more interested in me not experiencing the experience. and particularly not messing up his uh, computer. And I feel like if you allow AI into your computer right now in this period of history, there's a possibility it's the same thing like this. Like it took me literally 4 months before I became confident with uh with the coding software. Hey, we're back. No, this is brainstorm module. So what is it testing? The objectives module pages are not loading at all. They're just showing the home page instead of actual step content. This confirms that the user report of the objective module is completely broken. Let me investigate the root cause by checking if there's an issue with the routing or component or rendering logic. That's not really true. Which page is it showing? The home page. What do you mean home page? Are you talking about this home page? It would be easier if it only has one page to look at. All right, so I see that the my crisp is is done is gonzo, which means now you can hear my fan blowing in the background. I don't know, it gives me the feeling like we're getting closer to a world where like if you can imagine it, then the AI can build it, which is a really interesting world to live in. See, this is way better, this process. Okay, fix the broken. All right, so what it does is it locates and confirms. First, identify and report the path to the primary React component responsible for rendering the journey steps. Implement the fix. Analyze the component to find the conditional logic that is causing those elements to disappear only for Objectives module. Correct the logic to ensure the components render. Provide a final before, if possible, and after screenshot of an Objectives module step 2 to prove progress bar and buttons have been restored. Yeah. So this like recently I've been reading a lot of news. I never read the news in the past. I don't know why. I just I tried to read news and I never tried to read news. I was a paper boy when I was a kid. I delivered the newspaper for like I don't know 6 years old till I was for at least 10 years, and I never actually opened it and read it. Just carried it. I can't understand what was in those newspapers all those years because they literally had an entire newspaper that they printed every single day. Like that's crazy. They had a crazy amount of data that they were printing every day. Anyways, I left. I left the country. I went to China to learn Chinese, and then went to California to do filmmaking, and then I went to Russia to learn Russian. Now I'm here in a village. I'm getting ready to leave. I feel like maybe my time here is done. I got to make some decisions, some hard choices. make some progress, and then move on. And then suddenly I started reading the news. And like most of the news is retarded. Like I read it and I'm just like, what? Why do I care about? Like who's reading this stuff? Like why do people read news? Like I could watch YouTube. Like so, I've been watching YouTube channels. I'm not saying I don't pay attention to the news. I'm saying I don't read people that write. I don't read journalists. So I spent like I don't know 6, 7, 8 years now listening to financial, geopolitical, and financial news. Trying to get tuned into this vibe. And then I guess about a month ago, I started reading news articles, and I just discovered that most of the stuff that people write is just weird. It's like, what am I reading this for? Like, what does this have to do with anything? And then there's so much propaganda, and there's so many opinions, and like everybody has. I don't even know if propaganda is the right word anymore. Like, just people have different opinions, like vastly different opinions. All Journey module pages are completely broken. What? They're showing the home page instead of the actual component. This is a fundamental. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so these journalists are like writing stories, and obviously everybody's using ChatGPT because before, if you do research, your way of doing research is basically you got Google, and then probably you have some other different search tools, and then you're gonna go into some websites, and then you're gonna like just read stuff. Nice. It's still a little bit different because of this. It used to be working in this specific one. Now it died. Crazy. All right, I think what I'm going to do is Obviously it's like I can't do this anymore because it has its rate limits. Meaning I'm gonna have to go back. So basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back and I think I'm gonna revert because I think a lot of this is wrong. All right, so we're just basically gonna have to revert to here. All right, good. So I'm just gonna leave that here, and then when I come back, I'll be able to see it. I'm gonna leave this Chromium tab open. I don't think it did any work. It didn't fix anything. Button's still broken. Line was still broken. Colors are still wrong. Yeah. Anyway, so next time I see you, I'll have all this fixed. But I would say in general, I'm feeling good about the whole idea of using Windsurf and Claude Sonnet 4. We've made significant progress over the last couple days, like progress that I just had no idea I could make. Um, like it's things are happening much quicker than in the past. I feel like I could make anything. It just if you can imagine it, then you can make it. And I also feel like probably it's true that using some calibration documents, having some protocols, very specific protocols, using Gemini to manage those protocols and to organize the information, and also you can speak directly to Gemini, and then it can kind of organize your thoughts, and it can prepare the prompt for Cascade. So and then also it has like a lot of the best practices for how to manage prompts with Cascade. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what's going to happen by the end of the month because once we have the website done, I feel like we're going to be done by the end of the month. And then what? And then we got to launch it. So it's like pretty exciting. Now, in other news, we got to go back and we have to start thinking about marketing messages, which means I have to start writing blog articles. Um, I was sending a message to my mom the other day explaining like what's going on in life in general, and then I just decided to like talk to her like if I'm speaking to my mom, maybe it'll be a useful way to explain something clearly. And yeah, so I left her a message on WhatsApp, and basically the idea was about uh, well, anyways, we'll talk about that next time because I'm playing with the idea of am I gonna am I gonna write blogs posts about like the specific thing that I'm working on right now, and just it's like almost like the news. What news? I'm a journalist. Yeah, so like like what am I thinking about? What am I sharing? What's this all about? So for example, like these live YouTube videos, it's me just like freestyle, and I'm trying to figure out how to do things. I'm making stuff. I'm building stuff. You can see what I'm actually doing when I'm working. Then I got to take the best of that and I have to turn it into like a blog article. Like, what did I learn from this experience? And then once I have that, all right. So the main thing that I've been thinking about these days, one, it's about deliberate practice. But the key about deliberate practice is that you can use deliberate practice in order to, like, oh, you can see my screen. Like, so here I'm using deliberate practice to talk about three things. Like when it comes to marketing, what's the foundation of marketing? The foundation of marketing is get someone to buy, right? That's called communications. And then you can break that down into like pre-funnel, top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. We're talking about market research, benchmark. Anyways, we didn't finish this list of ideas. And then number two is like, how do you get them to buy again? So this is about like the product experience. And then finally, you have like, you got like subscribe. Well, I think buy again is also kind of like subscribe. And then you got buy something else. And maybe more expensive. All right, so we can delete the stuff from the previous one. And we're in this one. We're trying to get someone to buy for the first time. So we're talking about communications. And we're talking about pre-funnel right now. We're talking about market research. Anyways, I gotta go. I'm just exhausted.